Hello, my lovely friends. Hope you are absolutely fine and doing well. So, in today's video, we're gonna see how we can define enum in our custom activity. So, why do we need to actually define enum? The question here is why we need enum? Why it is required? Like why someone will use enum in the custom activity? So, to tell you or to actually brief you on that, let me just show you a basic, an custom activity which I have created, which will help you understand why we need this particular type of input argument in our custom code. So let me just quickly create a sequence and go to activities. And I have actually added a custom code which is under the namespace advanced Excel operations. And this is the activity which I have created, format range. Okay, so yeah. So this is the activity. I mean, I will not explain you what all input parameters I have created in this, but the main focus here is for the input field format. You see, when we create a input argument of type enum, it gives the user of that activity an option to select the value from. Okay, so like here in the screen you can see, right, number, date, custom text alignment. So what is this? What it does basically is I have created an activity named as format range. Then from the in that particular input argument which this format range activity is taking, I have defined certain list of values which can be passed. Okay, so this will help you to actually get the correct values which you defined in your code, and then utilize that particular values based on the condition, maybe based on the cases, and then do the required custom code, or maybe execute the required flow. So how we actually do this in Visual Studio basically. So let's actually switch to Visual Studio and see like what we have done. Okay, so if you know, I have created a very basic video on how to create a custom activity for Uipath. uh, you can refer to the video and see like what all basic steps are required for that. But for those who are actually seeing this video for first time, or who are actually on my channel for first time, for those I'll quickly tell you two basic things required. One is system.activity, second is system.component.model. These are the namespaces which we need to add. Create a basic class library, give your class a required name, whatever you want, inherit code activity abstract class there, implement the execute method of that particular code activity class, and then whatever options or whatever feature you want to provide through your custom code, then you can write over this particular method. This is basic about how to create a custom activity in your path. But how we created this enum, this drop down type um, input argument here. So what we did basically, so in this particular code, right, I have created a class which is by default, whenever you're creating a custom activity, you have to define a class and then inherit code activity. So in that I have defined an enum type. Okay, so this is again a custom enum which I have created, which is enum format, by the name of enum format. And I have defined certain values in that, certain variables in that, like number, date, custom text, and text align. And these are the values which you can see in this particular drop down, like number, date, custom text, and text align. And see, I have defined number also. I have assigned a value to it, like equals to 1 2 3 4 5. But yeah, if you don't want, then it's not necessary. Actually, it will automatically take the values by default, so this is not mandatory step. But yeah, for my understanding, I have just set certain value to it. Okay, so yeah, so this is how I defined a basic enum. Okay, now what we did, we defined an enum. Now we have to define an property or an in argument of this type. So how we basically define an input argument in our custom activity is create a property. Okay, set in argument there, and the type of that property, name of your property gets set. This is how we define a basic property or basic input argument in when you implement code activity. Okay, and these are certain attributes which are required, like it says like required argument, which means this field is required. No, if someone left this field empty, it will give an error that this is a required field, you have to pass. Okay, the category here is basically this, you see, input and output. So categories like this, you see, grouping of that particular fields. So this is how we do it. This is very basic input argument which we define, but focus here is to see how we defined an drop down type of property. So what I did here was basically similar way, created input, defined a category of input. Required, yes, we need that argument, so I given an attribute of required argument, and then I defined a public property, define the type of the property, which is nothing but my enum name which I have created, and the name of the property. Okay, so what is the difference between this property and the normal property? You could see over here in the screen, right? In the basic property or a normal property where I am just, there is a single text box where some user can pass that value they want to, or that based on the type which we have defined, right? So in this we are using in argument, right? But in the drop down type of property, right, or the input argument, will not use in argument. We will define the type it as enum, our type, like the type which we defined, and the name of the property, like whatever name you want to give, you can pass it here. So once you do that, you build this. Okay, so to actually show you, this is how we basically, like I told you, this is how we basically created a enum there. So let's do one thing. What I'll do is I'll create another enum in front of, like, just to show you, public, okay, enum, and let's give it a name like some custom type enum example, and then curly braces. Let's do one thing. Okay, tab, let's say YouTube. Okay, then we'll, oh, okay, in this particular example I will not define a number there, or maybe not provide a, a value to it. So YouTube, maybe Uipath, then .net, then maybe automation anywhere. Let's get this. If we are okay, so enum defined. My enum type is customer type enum. This is what we define. Let's just give this enum for custom. Okay, I'm writing customer every time, I don't know, but yeah, it's custom enum for custom activity. Yeah, here we defined an enum. Let's now create okay, what I'll do, I'll create a new property here. How do we define property? So PRP tab, that's done. What now we define? This is the type of your property. What would be the type for us? It would be our this thing, which is the type of our enum, right? So what I have explained you, type of my enum here, then name of my property. Name, let's give it a name like some custom, again custom input. I set it. Now let's just define some attribute to it. Let's put it in a different category now. Let's give it a category YouTube example. Not YouTube. Yeah, but it's just to show you, right? So let's keep it as a YouTube, and maybe required argument also. So in this, we will see how we actually, in this example, I will show you how we can create Nugget package and then maybe use it and then, utilize that particular thing in our Uipath. So this is how what I did. Created an enum custom type enum example. Defined a property of type this. Given a name of that property as custom input. Defined a new category of YouTube. So that's just before building. Let me just this is a good practice actually, and this will help. I mean, this will make sure that whenever you are adding a new DLL to the existing Nugget package, then the new changes will be actually, there. It will be available there. So yeah, I just modify the version there, save it. Let's just clean the solution first, and then maybe rebuild the solution. And in the meantime, I'll just open Nugget Package Explorer, and this will, yeah, the build has succeed. So I'll just copy the path here and see if my Nugget package, yeah, Nugget package has been opened. So let's get create. Okay, so what I did is I have actually created the old package. So I will open that and show you like how we can actually update the existing feed. So the last version I could see is there in this advanced Excel option 3 dot. This one open. Okay. So it says, yeah, I have a DLL. I'll just remove, delete this. Maybe then add exist. Okay, this is how we basically create a new package there. Okay, so what I did, okay, let me just show you how to create a new, then it would help you to actually, know how to create from scratch. So let's open Nugget Package Explorer again. We create a new package, then right click it, add library folder. Make sure we are right. I mean, we are adding the library folder here. Add an existing file. Existing file means your DLL file which you just created. Okay, so where do you found it? So once in this example, go to bin. Maybe if you are selecting the release or based on whatever your selection, select this DLL. Okay, then edit the properties, like maybe I'll just give it a name like 1.1. Okay, let's keep it as 1.1 and then just provide a name here. And let's give it a name like YouTube. Okay, not YouTube now. Custom code for email property. Okay. Okay, author name, let's change it. Whatever. I mean, this is good practices you provide here. The the more the detail you have, it will actually help someone to understand on that what is your PLL is using or it's doing. So yeah, for now we will just keep it simple. I'll just copy this, paste here, then in the summary, nothing else now. Fine. Okay, then we click on this, we do a save, or maybe you do a save as or save based on your choice. But yeah, I'm doing save as because I have to select a different path here because my UI path is defined on a different path, so I don't want to make another step. So I'll just quickly add here. What is this? Yeah, no, not over here. Correct. So custom code for enum 1.1. Great. We saved it. Let's minimize this. Quickly go to sorry, not automation anywhere. UI path. Delete this. Okay. So yeah, go to manage packages, custom packages. Okay, so this was the old example. This is the new one which I just I showed you. Not this one actually. Yeah, this one in an example which was created today only, 1st of August. So let's just install this and then click save. So let this install. Great. So we have installed it, and then go to quickly activities. So just drag and drop this over here. No, sorry. I think I have multiple references in my code, so I have to actually select the correct one. Where the correct one is, let me just quickly figure that. No, let me just see. Enum example. Okay, so enum example is already there. Let me just remove all other which I have installed. Sorry, this is just creating confusion for me. I'm just removing all those. Great. So only we have this advanced this thing, and then the format range, right? So yeah, what is this? So we have this thing. So okay, why I need to actually remove is basically I have created and the modify the existing the namespace is by default advanced Excel operation. So to not actually confuse myself, I have removed all other references and just kept my updated one, where you could see right under the YouTube category which we have defined over here in the property itself, like category YouTube required argument, and the type of this is this, and it is showing the value YouTube Uipath.net automation anywhere. YouTube Uipath, all the options are available here with a category which we defined here. Okay. One more thing which you can basically add is add another attribute called as, I think it's a description, which will provide a tooltip on your particular activity. So I'll just explain you what I'm trying to just show you like what I'm trying to explain you. So let's just drop this read range activity. Okay, so if you see, there is a specific on tooltip description of that particular property, right? Specific, like in this example it says specific if specifies if the first row in the range should be considered as header or whatever detail they have provided. So if you want to do similar thing in your activity or in your particular input argument, so there is an attribute called as description which you can use and provide that as a string. I would like you to actually search on that and then learn how we actually add a description to this. Or maybe you can actually, if you are not able to do that, I can actually show you. You comment on my video, I will just show you how we actually add a description to the property. So yeah, um, we actually learn like how we can create enum, create a property of that particular type, how to define the category of that, how to define the attribute, specifically category attribute of our input argument, and use that in our UI path, and how we basically create a nugget package. This is what we actually learned in this video, and I think this is basic example how we actually defined a property with a drop down option or the list of available input values there. And this is like a very basic thing which we can do in UI, I mean not in UI but using Visual Studio, create an activity and then utilize that as a custom activity. That's all. um, Thanks for watching my video, and if you feel like my content is of any worth or it's actually helping you in any way, I would request you to just subscribe and like the content, and so that whenever I upload a new video you will get a notification. And I would request you to please provide your feedback or comment on the videos, like if you are stuck somewhere, if there are any issues you want help on that, we'll try our best. Okay, and then we'll try to resolve that issue together and see like if we can help you in any way. So that's all for today. Thanks and stay safe.